7 and wanted to pop on here because the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for Volusia County. It is in rural Volusia County, but nevertheless, tornado warning has been posted and is in effect until 1 o'clock. So about the next half an hour, there is a tornado warning posted. I want to make sure that you know about this, okay? Because if you live in places like Oak Hill, Edgewater, or even New Smyrna Beach, this cell is heading your direction. Let's take a look at it on our live radar, and you can very clearly see there's a very subtle but distinctive little couplet right in here over Osteen Maytown Road, over near Sailor Road, and that is continuing to work over toward I-95, okay? Let's take a look at it from different radar vantage points. If there is any sort of rotation making it to the ground, it is fairly weak. That's the National Weather Service radar, and you can very clearly see kind of the greens in here and the brighter reds in here. So they're scanning that at 3,500 feet. The WESH 2 live radar is scanning this at about 940 feet. So it's in this area here. That said, it is moving off toward the coastline. Let me widen this perspective out. If you live out near Bethune Beach, I'm just going to lapse this so that you can kind of see its overall motion. It did have that couplet show up as it was exiting Seminole County, which is why the National Weather Service went ahead and issued this tornado warning, okay? A tornado warning, what does that mean? That means very much so, okay, that there's a possible tornado, whether it's indicated on Doppler radar or whether it's been viewed by someone on the ground, okay? I want to point out that for right now, it looks like this tornado warning is something that is radar indicated, meaning that it has not made it to the ground. We have no confirmation that that is the case. But nevertheless, I just want to be very clear with you, okay? I just want to be very clear with you. A tornado warning means that it is possible. It is moving to the northeast at 35 miles an hour. So what I want to do is I want to put the latest image on here, and I'm going to track this moving at about 35 miles an hour, right off the couplet there, okay? 35 miles an hour. All right, that means that it makes its way over toward Edgewater by 12:46. If you live in the Edgewater area, you've got about 15 minutes. Take your tornado precautions at this time. What does that even mean? What is a tornado precaution? That means you want to put as many layers as you can between you and the outside, okay? Wow. We don't have basements in Florida, so that's a big concern, right? Sure it is. So we just need to do what we can, okay? We've not gotten any ground confirmation that there is anything on the ground, okay? But let's take a look. This is our debris tracker, and, there's... Let me just review this. If you look, you see how right near Cow Creek, right in there, how it started showing super light colors? That would be something of an indication that there could have been a touchdown, okay, of some kind. There's no promise, but the debris tracker, and if we just go back just a little bit more, yeah, if there was, there very possibly could have been. And if there is, it would be somewhere right in here coming up closer to I-95. And that's about where the Doppler radar is showing that. And I'm just kind of cycling through the different radar sources, trying to find the best we can. But that's the spot. So Creighton. So let's go street level here. If you live around Maytown Road, Creighton, Old Blue Ridge Road, Volco Road, out toward Beacon Light Road, take your tornado precautions. This tornado warning is in effect until 1 o'clock. The good news for right now is that we haven't gotten any ground truth, but the debris tracker is showing those lighter colors right in there. Those lighter colors, that is an indicator, my friends. That is an indicator that there is possible debris aloft, okay? It's moving very quickly. It looks like, according to the National Weather Service, it has sped up its forward motion and is now moving at 40 miles an hour, okay? That's great. The problem is that we are seeing somewhat of an indication of rotation, and you can kind of see on our velocity, if there was rotation, it's fairly weak, but nevertheless, rotation is rotation. This is a live look at our radar. Creighton Aerial US 1 Beacon Light Road. Okay, we're going to do another storm track. And what I actually want to do here is I want to do a storm track off of that area that perhaps has debris. And I'm going to put a storm track on here moving at 40 miles an hour. Okay, let me just widen this radar view out just a little bit. I'm going to do it at 40 miles an hour. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more locations to it. Okay, so give me just 1 second and we're going to add some smaller spots to this. Okay, all right, so Creighton at 12:35. That's when this potential tornado will be in your neighborhood. Ariel at 12:40. Peakwood Place at 12:42. Eldora at 12:44. And Bethune Beach at 12:45. Take your tornado safe room. You can very clearly see on our debris tracker here, my friends, that lighter shade, that's at the very least an indication that there is something, not rain, aloft. So what that would tell me is that at the very least, we have at one point or another seen something touch down. Okay, Cow Creek. It's not a heavily populated area, but it is nevertheless an area that people live in. Okay, this is our live radar, and you can still see those brighter colors right in here. Okay, so that's our radar kind of trying to point out that there's some sort of a gust front of some kind. Okay, there's something there that we are needing to watch. Okay, let's switch over to actually that's our radar, and it's doing right in here. Yeah, let me clear off our storm track. All right, we'll take you off. Our radar is scanning at about 1,100 feet. Okay, we're getting new radar returns from our radar about every minute. Okay, there it is. Creighton, take your tornado precautions right now. If you live from about Oak Hill and Maytown Road up through about, we'll say Indian River Boulevard, it's this corridor right in here. The rain is going to start, and it's going to get very, very intense very, very quickly. Let's take a look at our rotation tracker. And again, this is low-end rotation. But the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning, not because of the fact that there's something on the ground, but because of the fact that we are seeing some piece of energy in the atmosphere that has the potential to create a tornado. You can see this is on our live radar, okay? And very clearly, you can see those brighter shades approaching Creighton. I'm just going to read what the National Weather Service just put out, okay? Tornado warning remains in effect until 1 p.m. for east central Volusia County. All right, it's moving at about 35, 40 miles an hour and is crossing I-95 literally within the next few moments' time, okay? If there is a tornado, the concern, of course, is going to be the flying debris. Mobile homes are in this area, so that is a concern. And tree damage, even if it's not a tornado, even if it is just straight line winds, okay? Even if it's that case, you can see right in here in those brighter shades, if there was a tornado, it would be right, literally right over Creighton, right in there, okay? Let's switch over to our debris tracker. And yeah, I mean, that's the area where we're watching. There may be a bit of a debris signature here, okay? So, Edgewater, Bethune Beach, Apollo Beach. My friends, if you live in this area, take cover now. Get as far inside of your house as you humanly can. I know we don't have safe rooms. I know we don't. But we need to do what we can to stay safe. Not a ton of lightning in this cell, okay? But it doesn't, lightning is not a guarantee that you've got a tornado on the ground. What's interesting about this, if I may, is the fact that the Storm Prediction Center said that the threat for strong to severe storms is growing, but that they don't think they're going to need to issue any kind of a tornado watch or severe thunderstorm watch. But what this shows me at the very least here is that there's always the opportunity in Florida. I tell people all the time when it comes to weather in Florida, Florida is going to Florida. You know, we've got this wild setup, okay? Again, back over to our live velocity product, and right in there, you've got kind of the little kink, the brighter shades there of red. Yeah, that is the indicator that we've got some rotation, at the very least a little inclination of higher winds. So what I want to do, I want to widen this perspective, and I want to put another storm track on here. It's moving at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. All right, so based on that, it's not going to take long for this to make its way off the shoreline. Okay, so with that said, let me add some of the smaller communities in here. I want to give just as much notice as we possibly can. Packwood Place, 12:43. Bethune Beach at 12:46. It is 12:37 now. My friends, we are giving you first warning. We are giving you ample time, okay? Ample time to take those tornado precautions, to get into that tornado safe room. For right now, we have no indication that there is anything on the ground, and that's very, very important, okay? But at any point, if you live near Unity Tree Drive, around Indian River Boulevard, 22nd Street in Hucomer. We're going to zoom into all the Tom, Dick, and Harry streets. Okay, Bay Street, Valco Road, 30th Street, 26th Street, 22nd Street, State Road 442. These are the areas, and you can very clearly see that brightened area of wind. That's the Doppler radar showing something there. Let me switch around. This is our radar. We're scanning on our radar at about 1,200 feet. Let's look at some of the other radars around. This is the National Weather Service radar. Yeah, so it's some. The problem here, and we talk about this a lot when it comes to tornadic cells. When the cells are moving at 40 miles an hour and the overall rotation is 40 miles an hour, so 80 miles an hour, you only get a brightened shade of one color because the other color is negated by the forward motion. And I know that that's a lot to handle, but the bottom line is this. There is rotation. It's not, it's about as fast a rotation as we are seeing it's the storm's motion. So Hucomer, 12:41. You've got 2 minutes. It's literally crossing I-95 as we speak. It's working right over to Silver Palm Drive and then Woodland Drive, then India Palm Drive, then US 1. So we're continuing our motion more and more and more right up to the beach. Let's take a look at our debris tracker. This is a very important tool. And again, the struggle here is whether or not what we're seeing here is debris aloft or contamination on the radar with this product. But there's at least somewhat of an indicator of something. There's somewhat of an indicator of something on debris tracker. So because of that, certainly we're watching this very, very closely. Back over to our live first warning Doppler radar. Our radar doing a great job. We're scanning this at about 1,300 feet. National Weather Service is scanning this at about 3,800 feet. So because we have been able to lower our radar, we get a much clearer look. How much are we talking about with wind? When we just kind of look, that's 47-37. So in one direction, if it's moving at 40, and in the other direction, it's moving at 40, you're talking about 80 or so mile per hour rotation in here, at least according to Doppler radar at 1,000 feet, okay? And we also notice on the north side here, there is one lightning strike. It's not a terribly large lightning producer, but it doesn't need to be, right? Let's look at the hail product here. No hail indicated whatsoever, okay? That's great. Super good. Super, super good stuff. Back over to the debris tracker, though, and there's still right around Cow Creek Road, right in here, some indication of rotation lifting up. Damalia is asking, now we can kind of get into some of your questions and comments here. Damalia is asking, did it touch down? We do not have confirmation of any kind of a touchdown, although, again, the debris tracker right in there, crossing over Highway 1 right now, getting right over Highway 1. This is our radar, and you can see the winds right in there. So if there was a tornado, it would be right over Hucomer, and it would be getting right over US Highway 1 right now, okay? We do not have any ground visualization of this, okay? We do not have any ground visualization. However, I do want to point out that that debris tracker is showing the lighter colors. So to me, at the very least, it's saying, do not ignore this, do not forget about this, but rather just pay very close attention. There's a look at that conventional radar. It's at the very least raining very heavily from Edgewater down to Hucomer. Now, we're not talking about areas that have a ton of people, but if there's one person we want to make sure you know, Melissa's asking where. This is Volusia County, approaching Bethune Beach. In the next few moments' time, if you live in Bethune Beach, it'll start to rain, and then it's going to just come in like a lion. Very heavy rain, very gusty winds, and the potential, of a tornado. Let's come back over. This is our reflectivity. Let's switch back over to our velocity, and it is looking like it is a bit stronger. A lot of times when you get a cell right near the water, you kind of get this convergence of winds, and so there is a concern that it would have the opportunity to spike up right in there. You see those brighter shades? Let me just take a look and show you. The brighter shades, that's winds at about 40 or so miles an hour. And that 40 or so miles an hour, that's just wind in one direction, okay? The storm is moving at 40, so you're talking about 40 and 40, so you're talking about like 80 mile per hour winds, okay? Based on that, we've got enough concern that there is a tornado warning issued, and look at that, the debris tracker continuing to show. What is debris tracker, okay? This is just a radar ability to not just look at how much rain or how much wind, but what type of particles are we scanning? And in this case, when you see, the yellows, that's the radar saying maybe there's something other than rain. Maybe there's tree limbs or dirt or something to that effect. When you see that like blue or white, that is like hey, there's a tornado on the ground. I'm happy to not see that. But what I am seeing is at the very least a subtle indicator, okay? Hugh Comer, you are right now seeing at the very least the gustiest of the winds. Let me take this full because we've got a lot of streets. Where would the tornado be if it was on the ground right now? It would literally be right in there, okay? So you're talking about Volco Road. You're talking about Roberts Road, 28th, 27th. We're getting over to US Highway 1. We're getting over to Navigators Way, Packwood Road, Godfrey Road, Packwood Place, probably just north of Packwood Place, 22nd Street, Falcon Avenue. It's in this area here. Tornado warning in effect for the next 15 minutes. Brian says, I know that you're focusing on the Volusia County area right now, but can you give me a quick glance of Ocala? I will. But not right now. There's a tornado warning in effect. Tornado warning takes precedent over everything else. I love you, and I will get to you eventually. But for right now, as long as there's a tornado warning in effect, that has my full and complete attention. Not near Lake Harney. We are literally right at the coastline. Let me widen this perspective out and give you an idea of exactly where we are. There's Bethune Beach. So there's the wider shot. This is the spot. If we were watching a tornado, that's the spot. Over Edgewater and Bethune Beach. That tornado warning runs until 1 o'clock. And just kind of goes to show you that we may have this sort of thing that we're going to have to watch through the afternoon. Let's switch over to our rotation tracker. Rotation tracker showing that low-end rotation right around Bethune Beach. Okay, so if you live in Bethune Beach, just a couple more minutes, and then we're going to be able to get this cleared out, okay? Juan says this is a good day to have your NOAA weather radio handy and the WESH 2 app too. Indeed it is. And this is why, my friends, this is why we always tell you to have ways to be warned, right? Because things like this happen. And in Florida, I hate to say it, things like this happen fairly often. It's just, anytime you get storms that fire up, this can happen, okay? All right, so let's zoom in here, and you can kind of see where we're talking about. Let me switch back over to our velocity product. Right here, I'm zooming in. If there was a tornado, it would be right in here. So Packwood Road, Arbor Lane, Homeport Terrace, getting over toward Guava Drive, Falcon Avenue, south of Virginia Street. But the radar is picking up on some heavier pockets of wind. Take a look right in there, 50 miles an hour. So this is actually 57 miles an hour, and this is on our WESH radar, and we are scanning this at 1,400 feet. So we are the lowest radar available. The Orlando International Airport radar is at 2,600 feet. The National Weather Service radar here is scanning it at 4,000 feet, okay? So our radar we've tweaked it low because we knew the way that these storms were going to be, okay? We knew that we were going to need to be about as low as humanly possible. Here's a look at the updated debris tracker. And again, you're seeing somewhat of an indicator of something. Very interesting little reflection there. If there was a tornado on the ground, it would be rapidly working across all the little tidal estuaries and channels there and working right to and just north of Bethune Beach, okay? So let's talk about some of the streets here in Bethune Beach. If you live in that area, I want to make sure you know. All right, so we're talking about Egram Road. We're talking about Turtle Mound Road. We're talking about folks that live, let me zoom, I mean, we just have to zoom in here. It's all these little tidal estuaries around Turtle Mound Road. This, of course, very much connected to the Canaveral National Seashore here. It's not a clear-cut rotation signature. In other words, it doesn't have that monstrous inflow notch. But when we look at our velocity product, this is our WESH 2 radar. Right in there, you absolutely still see a rotation couplet. This would be wind here going kind of with the storm motion, which is why it's not showing up, because the storm's motion is not being taken into account. And this is the wind on the backside of it, okay? So that is the section right there, Bethune Beach and points just to the north. If there was a tornado, that's where it would be. Let's talk about the winds. Again, 50, and if the storm's moving at 40, you're talking about a 90-mile-per-hour area of rotation, my friends, okay? It's a big deal. It's a big deal, okay? Weather in Port Orange should be getting better soon. Yeah, Bill, Port Orange is not impacted. This actually is south of New Smyrna Beach. Crystal says, I'm so nervous. Hubby's working in New Smyrna Beach, beachside right now. Not a concern. Bill says New Smyrna Beach is not currently in tornado danger. Correct. Bethune Beach is the area. Just north of Bethune Beach is the area that we're really watching, okay? Let me switch over here. I know there's a lot of stuff on the screen. Again, around Bethune Beach, you can very clearly see. That, to me, is kind of the, if there is something aloft, that, to me, is the signature. But it's not a home run signature. Debbie says, the area you're showing is exactly where my son and family live. Okay, just make sure that they are weather aware. Just make sure that they are weather aware, my friends. Because as this moves through, it is certainly something of concern. Now, with that said, back to the velocity product, and it still very much is a rotation signature. Let's bring, take you, you stay there, you stay there. That's the area of rotation. Right over Engram Road. Again, not a lot of people here, but I don't care. If there's one person that lives here and is impacted, I am going to take this very much as a weight of responsibility on my heart, okay? 40, 46 mile per hour winds. In one direction, of course, the storm is moving at 40. So if there was a tornado on the ground, my friends, again, brand new radar sweep just coming through. It is about to cross Engram and Atlantic Avenue. So if there is a tornado, it is right along the shoreline, okay? National Weather Service just putting out that they're giving the radar one more scan, as it is, this is the shoreline right in here. That area of rotation is moving off the shoreline right now. It's 12:50, so it's running a little early, but the National Weather Service has just canceled their tornado warning as the cell that is moving off the shoreline that prompted the tornado warning has moved out. Okay, very quickly, let's come back to the metro and just take a look. Plenty of other nasty cells out here. Thankfully, though, none of those are prompting any tornado warnings, okay? So, at this time, I'm going to return you to your normal daily activities. If we hear of any damage, certainly WESH 2 will have complete coverage for you, okay? Meteorologist Cam Tran and Alex Alisi are in the Weather Center, and if need be, I will pop on to give you a second screen experience of sorts where we can talk, ask questions, and all that on the Facebook and Twitter, okay? All right, showers and storms continuing. Stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date.